gon' tune in cause the showtime. Go ahead and call the gang up for the one time. Rap food rhyme, got them on the line. And my life's still great, I'm doing just fine. Hands up.
So we all saw that Mickey Mouse entered the public domain in 2024. Just for a clarification on which Mickey Mouse this is the first iteration of Mickey Mouse. So the Steamboat Willie, the
The
one
one
that
that walk like this.
the one that really looks like a rat. So it is only the more mischievous rat-like non-speaking boat captain in Steamboat Willie that has become public. So the Mickey Mouse ears, the modernized Mickey, whoever, we already seen the trailers for the horror games, the horror movies. Y'all cannot touch that Mickey Mouse. You can only touch the Mickey Mouse that can't talk.
I feel like it's unfair for me to give my opinion on this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Controversy. I see artists who are like, oh my gosh, we need public domain because it elevates creativity and innovation. For example, look at King Arthur's Sword in the Stone and blah, 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 blah. But I'm also like, well, these folks created it. And then the argument is, no, they didn't create it. Walt Disney and all of them created it. These are just the folks who own the company. And I'm like, okay, if it's in public domain, are y'all going to do anything good with it, though? I'm still waiting on a solid King Arthur.
I think, and I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this with Mickey Mouse, and then when the announcements came out that for in 30, 35 through 36 or whatever, the first iterations of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, I think it was just those three. In the Joker.
2035 or 2035?
2035, my bad.
Okay.
We not even gonna be around for no 3035.
My bad. Talking about that. We gonna be
my
dead.
bad. It was 2035 to 2036. The original iterations of Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, and the Joker were gonna enter the public domain. And I think the first thing, because we saw it with Mickey Mouse, I won't say I hate. I find it very interesting that our first notions to do with these characters is to pervert it. Mickey Mouse came into the public domain and y'all made a horror movie and 2 horror games. And I'm not saying it's wrong, because now you have the ability to play with these what if scenarios. Like, what if Mickey Mouse was darker than you think? Like, you can play around with those ideas. But I just find it very interesting that when we do get stuff in the public domain, because the same thing happened with Winnie the Pooh. Like, when we get these characters in the public domain, the first idea is to pervert it. And I was like, I can only imagine what's going to happen with Superman and Batman getting into the public domain, because I know everybody wants a good evil Superman story. I already know.
And the funny thing is, when I was looking at the details, it's like Superman and Batman and all that, but then like the logos and everything else, they're trademarked. So, and trademarks rights are treated differently than copyrights.
But it might be because it was the same thing with Mickey Mouse. It could be the modernized stuff, because they still have the Mickey Mouse ears and trademark. So it's kind of like, yes, the first iteration is out, because the first Superman logo looks very, very different from the Superman logo that you see today.
Mm-hmm. And now the artists are going to have to use it differently, because now they're going to have to argue. They're going to have to make sure that they don't get sued when they do it properly.
Exactly.
But going to what you was talking about.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, just addressing what you was talking about. We've had this conversation. Writing, in our opinions, has deteriorated when it comes to the quality of writing in films and movies in the past few years. It could be the overabundance of content that makes us feel like, oh, maybe it's not that writing has gotten bad. We're just seeing more of the average stuff. But that's what's going to happen to these IPs. There's no guarantee that just because they're in public domain that the best writer in the world and the most creative director is going to gain access to it. We're probably going to see a lot of basic average stuff for popular IPs. Just look at Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Like,
I think I would be interested to see what else comes out of Mickey Mouse being into the public domain. I know the horror stuff is like the quick grabs. Like, we're going to go through the horror stuff for a minute. We already saw the trailer, the announcement for the movie and the 2 games. And it's like, okay, cool. We know Disney wasn't gonna put out no horror stuff for Mickey Mouse, so let's go ahead when it gets in public domain, let's ship it. But I would like to see what else comes out of Mickey Mouse being in the public domain other than let's make horror movies and horror games. I'm not saying that it's the wrong move. I'm just saying when this stuff gets in the, because let's just talk about Winnie the Pooh. Other than that Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movie, what has anybody else done with Winnie the Pooh being in public domain?
And here's my thing. Here is my argument. I wish people would just be creative and make new stuff. Because at the end of the day, what are you going to do? Winnie the Pooh in space? Winnie the Pooh in Dungeons and Dragons fighting a dragon? Winnie the Pooh underwater? Winnie the Pooh versus the Loch Ness Monster? It's still Winnie the Pooh, and there are still people alive who look at that and relate it to how they saw Winnie the Pooh of Eeyore and Tigger in the old cartoons. Mm-hmm. That's still how they view it. Same for Mickey Mouse. We see Toodles and Goofy and everybody else. So it's like, oh, we're going to do a Mickey Mouse horror movie. Bro, we're just going to look at that like, WTF, what you talking about?
I agree. I would like to see if it gets in the public, now that it's in the public domain. I know we like to do the scary image, like, pervert it and make it scary. But what other images could come out of Mickey Mouse being in the public domain that Disney won't do because they are trying to be family friendly or whatever? Like if they did a Mickey Mouse style regular show, like we know Disney not gonna make no regular show, but if they did like a Mickey Mouse regular show where they just cutting the fuck up and it's all in some of, like, I won't say mature things, but like borderline, this could be on Adult Swim, I think that would be something funny to watch, like to change the image.
It could be funny, but then somebody like me is like, why didn't y'all just get creative like regular show and use a different animal? Like, did it really take Mickey Mouse for you to make a creative, adult-oriented cartoon? Like, because if regular show could do it, if all these other new IPs, Adventure Time and everybody could create something new and fresh, why can y'all?
That's true. And it could be, and it could just be the reason of like the curiosity. We're familiar with Mickey Mouse. How are you gonna write Mickey Mouse in this setting? Like, you have some boost of curiosity from the audience just because you got Mickey Mouse on it. Whether than if you were to just make a show with random animals, then we'd be like, you would have, okay, the trailer's kind of funny. This kind of reminds me of regular show. I might check it out instead of you seeing it and be like, Mickey Mouse, what they talking about on here?
See, and that's my thing, because then it just goes into marketing. Are people going to watch a brand that they have no affinity for and they don't know anything about versus one they do? And the issue is that sometimes it can be good. Dungeons and Dragons, the movie. Dungeons and Dragons, Critical Role, Vox Machina. We all know about this stuff. It makes us watch it. I get it. But then at the same time, you still got to be creative. That's what matters more. Marketing does matter. But if you make something of quality, that matters more, because now word of mouth is bigger than ever. We got social media.
Mm-hmm.
I like... If you're clinging to the fact, oh, we got the mouse in this movie gonna be fire, versus we got character development, we got creative ideas.
What I was saying was that not that Mickey Mouse is on the front and the rest of it is trash. It's just that this might be an actually good show, but putting Mickey Mouse on the front is giving it that push for people to watch it.
I would just doubt that majority of the time.
I see what you're saying, like, oh, Mickey Mouse is in our cartoon, but it turns out to be garbage. And then it was like, okay, the only thing you guys had going for the show was the fact that Mickey Mouse was in it. But I was talking about if they were to come up with something that was entertaining and just the selling point of it was that Mickey Mouse is in it. That's what I would like to see.
See, I would agree on I would like to see that. I just doubt that would ever even be a substantial... How would I say that? I doubt that would never be the majority. And I highly doubt that it would even be a substantial portion of the content that we would eventually get. Because in my opinion, when I see creative people, whether it's in the music industry, cinema industry, creative people are just going to be creative. They're going to create something good. It's going to be good. They don't necessarily have to latch on to a previously made identity. and the people who do latch on to these previously established IPs more than likely make something trash, i.e. Rings of Power,
I
i.e. Velma.
I see. But like I said, like I don't disagree with you. That's why I was saying like I'm not surprised that all this horror stuff has came out with. Like it was the same thing with Winnie
Yeah.
the Pooh. But my thing is that I would like to see if what else are you guys going to do with Mickey Mouse being in the public domain than make horror based content.
How do you feel about those conspiracies that were going around on Twitter where they was like, this is just Disney trying to make reasons to discourage people from using Mickey Mouse?
I feel like I see the reasoning. But given the fact that Winnie the Pooh movie is about to get a second installment, I don't think it's working. That Winnie the Pooh movie is about to get a second installment, and I just don't think it's working. But I think they're choosing the wrong genre. If the conspiracy is true, I think they're choosing the wrong genre to dissuade people. Because we love to see something dark and twisted, Mickey Mouse gone bad. Like it might look like something we don't want to watch. But like the Winnie the Pooh stuff was interesting because it was like, why would y'all do this to Winnie the Pooh and Piglet?
Plus, horror movies can be cheaply made. Like
Right.
it's easy to make a cheap
they
horror
don't
movie.
they don't have to spend a lot of money to make that. I think they're choosing the wrong if the conspiracy is true, I think they're choosing the wrong genre to try to make that point with, because I think everybody loves to see something dark and twisted. We love to see something good and just and tear it up, and that's what they've been doing.
Yeah, I feel like horror is just easier to get into because it's like, how many years away are we really going to be from like a traditional like Winnie the Pooh in a magical forest, and you got Eeyore and Tigger, and they're giving like quality animation on the level of say live action Lion King. Not saying they go the live action Lion King route, but they get into like that multi-million-dollar investment. Like, when are we ever going to see that? You know what I mean? Like, horror is just an easy route to go because you can get an iPhone, turn on grayscale filter, and make something that looks scary and look gritty or whatever.
Yeah, and that's just going back to my point is, I think they chose the wrong genre because I think everybody is interested in seeing like something get twisted, and I just think that after a while that it's like nobody's. I haven't seen anybody do anything else with the Winnie the Pooh IP since it's been in the public domain.
Yeah.
But we're running a little bit over time.
But like, Demon Slayer did not earn that spot this year. I'm so sorry. And I am a fan of Demon Slayer. It didn't earn that spot.
And I would have to agree. I think the later seasons, depending on how they do it, could put them in there to be animated.